guys, and welcome to another Hero Aka video where today we are talking about Bakugo and more importantly what his hero name is going to be. Now, a disclaimer first, I am aware that when I'm uploading this, the spoilers for the next chapter, chapter 242 or 3, I don't remember, is out. I have seen none of these spoilers, so if his hero name is revealed there, I don't know about it. Officially, the chapter comes out tomorrow. That's why I wanted to make this video now, before I actually have a chance to read the chapter in case his hero name is revealed, just because from the previous chapter, it seems like we're getting it pretty soon. But let's just start from the beginning. What do I think Bakugo's hero name is going to be? And it's quite simple. I think Bakugo's hero name is going to be Ground Zero. There are multiple reasons for this, but we can just start from the beginning. Horikoshi was the first one to introduce Bakugo's hero name as Ground Zero back when he first drafted the story. It has not been introduced as Bakugo's hero name in the main story. However, Ground Zero is a place that is very important for Bakugo, namely the battle in Camino Ward where All Might fought All for One and also had his last fight, battle, mission, whatever. So obviously Ground Zero just as a place is very, very meaningful to Bakugo. But from a character standpoint, it would be weird for Bakugo to choose a hero name based on the place where he was held captive by villains and had to be saved by his friends, and where All Might, who is his hero he looks up to, lost his power, and we know how much grief that cost him, that particular fight, and how he blamed himself so much for what happened to All Might. However, from a story perspective, I think it makes a lot of sense for Bakugo to choose the name Ground Zero, and the main reason for this obviously being Deku. Now, when it comes to Deku and Kachan, they're a very, very interesting rival pair because unlike a lot of other rivals, they aren't necessarily foils to each other. Obviously, you can point out a lot of characteristics between them that are, foils and they're opposites and all those kind of things. But more than that, I just feel like they're very complementary as characters. They have a lot of the same goals and values, and in that sense, you can't really call them foils. And I think that's also one of the reasons why I feel so strongly about Ground Zero being his hero name, because as we know from Deku, as his hero name, it stems from a place of weakness. Deku was the name given to him by Bakugo as a way to make fun of him, as a way to remind him that he was useless. And slowly this has become a name that he's changing from the meaning useless to the meaning of a hero who can do anything. And I think for Bakugo, it's very, not necessarily important, but it would be very meaningful for him to have a name that's sort of the same. For Bakugo, Ground Zero is his weakest self. However, it's not something he's gonna forget about. It's not something he's gonna try to forget about, because acknowledging your weakness is how you can move forward and become stronger. And I think Bakugo is really realizing this. He's learning a lot, especially from Deku, who he always used to look down upon, and he's challenging Deku on turfs that are usually his. We see this in the joint training arc, where Bakugo is so willing to work with others because he's learned from Deku that that's a strength and not a weakness, to rely on other people. So taking Ground Zero as his hero name is going to be a way for Bakugo to take something that he used to view as a weakness, as a place of weakness, and then turn it into something that shows strength. Furthermore, by choosing Ground Zero as his hero name, Bakugo is going to prove to himself and everyone else that All Might saving him and losing his power as a consequence was not in vain. Because Bakugo is fully aware that the Camino story is obviously very, very a famous story. It's a story that everyone in Japan knows, and everyone will know his role in it too. And there are definitely gonna be voices that are gonna be saying, well, was it worth it for All Might to lose his power to save this child who's shown to be aggressive, who a lot of people thought was gonna turn villain and all of these things. And for Bakugo to choose Ground Zero as his hero name and rise above all of that and show that All Might did the right thing by choosing him, that's going to be very important to him and to a lot of people who will eventually look up to him as a hero. Ground Zero will also be the perfect complement to the hero named Deku, because like Deku, although in a very different sense, he is a successor of All Might. And having these two have, if you can say, the beginning of their journeys as heroes start from a place of weakness that they can then overcome, and instead of pushing it away, letting it become part of himself, Deku and Ground Zero, it's just very, very fitting for them, and it will continue to show this very special bond between them. I just think it's the parallels between Deku and Ground Zero, although they're different, they're so similar that I think it would be really it would be very thematically fitting for the story for Bakugo to choose Ground Zero as his hero name. Lastly, just to mention the previous chapter where we have Best Jeanist talking to Bakugo about the importance of a hero name and the importance of a good hero name. It's important to note that Best Jeanist was also there at Kamina Ward, now Ground Zero, where although he wasn't there to save Bakugo, he was there to capture the Nomus. It just further shows this connection that Bakugo has to Best Jeanist, which I talked about in that chapter. And it will be even more important to him because he learned a lot from Best Jeanist, he's learned a lot from All Might, he looks up to both of them, and obviously he has this thing with Deku, and it really feels like it would be very fitting for Bakugo to choose Ground Zero as his hero name. And it sounds pretty cool too. And of course, just as a little side note, Ground Zero was also the place of All Might's final victory, and we know how much victory means to Bakugo as a character. Victory is what he's always yearning for. He doesn't like to lose, and he always yearns to win in the right way too, and that's why he's always looked up to All Might. And having his name be the place where All Might had his last victory is going to be really important to him if he's going to be known as the symbol of victory, which Deku especially has been alluding to happening. So I think, just as I've said so many times, it fits so symbolically, thematically, and it would provide some, not necessarily growth to his character, but it would showcase the growth that he's had as a character. And I'm not saying I wouldn't be on board with other hero names, but Ground Zero for me is what I've always called him ever since I learned of this name. And especially when I was reading the My Villain Academia arc, and Ground Zero was name dropped, I was so excited because I really thought, well, it really sets it in stone for me that Ground Zero is going to be the name that he chooses. So yeah, you can tell me if you've had any other ideas for Bakugo as his hero name. I know a lot of people have said like they want him to choose Kachan, but I think even though that would be really cute and it would also fit like with the Deku and Kachan thing we have going on, I just don't think that as a character Bakugo would choose Kachan as a hero name. Therefore, Ground Zero I think is more meaningful because it will connect him to All Might, to a period in his life where he felt weak, and it will also connect him to Deku, which is obviously why people want him to choose Kachan. But I think just for his character, Ground Zero makes more sense to me. Yeah. But that was it for that video. It's a little short, but there's only so much I can say. It is just a name, and it's not like there's heaps and heaps of evidence for this, but I think it has more evidence than any other name, except, again, maybe Kachan, but again, as I said, it doesn't seem like something he would choose. So that's why I feel really strongly about Ground Zero being his hero name, and I mean, if it turns out to be something else, as long as it has a story, I'll probably be fine with it. Because I think at this point there's no reason for him not to choose a hero name that has some kind of impact for his character. So yeah, you can leave a like if you like anything that I have to say. Leave in the comments below what you think Bakugo's hero name would be. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? And you can subscribe if you want to see more. And until tomorrow or Saturday, depending on when I get the video made. Bye bye.